back at it again, and we've got one here with Dave Rubin and Harmeet Dillon. I believe that's how you pronounce her name. But I saw the title of this, and I was like, let's check this out, I wanted to check it out with you guys. So the title of this is The Real Reason the RNC Doesn't Care About Losing. And, obviously, me, that title piquing my interest kind of goes back to when I was talking about, why am I drawing a blank on his name? Mitch. Goodness gracious. Drew a complete blank right there. But when I was talking about Mitch and how he kind of seemed okay with losing and even was sending money to make sure that certain Republican candidates lost. And I'm like, wait, what? That's what you're wasting money on? So when I saw this title, I was like, gotta check that out with them. Gotta check that out with the family. So that's what we're checking out today. Like, share, comment, hit that subscribe button if you're new. Make sure you're following me on social media too. Those links are down below. And with that being said, let's dive in.
Little donors, mom and pops, people like my parents and my, other relatives. They say, oh, Lindsey Graham needs money. Let's give him some money. I like him. I saw him on television. Suddenly they're like signed up forever to keep getting emails from every Republican in the universe, and they can't stop it. The puppy will die. Your mom will be held hostage. Like the messages are so abusive. And then big dollar donors are really sick of giving their $5 million, $10 million, $50 million checks, and we don't win elections. I mean, that's not what they're there for. So pretty much nobody is satisfied with the status quo, except a significant percentage of the members of the Republican National Committee who have their power, their privilege, their title, their prestige, their photographs with politicians. I'm not there for that. I'm here to win elections so I can go back and enjoy my life.
And that is exactly what I want to hear. Win. That's what I want to do. I want to win. I don't know, man. I just feel like, especially establishment Republicans, they really don't care. Doesn't matter if they win or lose. As long as they're continuing to get the checks and they're still sitting in that position, doesn't really matter to them. And that is the problem, in my humble opinion. Let's continue.
Okay, so speaking of a revolution, now let's talk about what your plans are to do with the Republicans. One of the lines that I say on this show all the time is you don't have to be a Republican, but you cannot be a Democrat. And I think that's really resonated with an awful lot of people, that the Democrats have lost their mind. The Republicans, it's messy, they're going to fail you sometimes, but at least there's something there to work with. So what would your vision be of what the Republican Party would truly stand for? You hit on a little bit of it earlier, but what's the real vision that you want to sell to the party?
Well, first of all, you should be a Republican if you're not a Democrat. You should not. I feel that. Let me just put that on the table. It is a zero-sum game. There are two parties that are relevant in this country, and if you're not winning, you're losing. That's the fact of politics. Okay, Facts. So with respect to what I would do differently, we probably don't even have time here, but look, the party has evolved in a certain direction. It's really been the same two people running it for the last 12 years. The base of the party has changed in a revolutionary way during those 12 years. Some of the same staff from the Reince Priebus era of 6 years are still running the show at the RNC today. And guess what those staff are doing? They're negotiating contracts that are self-interested. Hundreds of millions of dollars has flown into the pockets of consultants over the last few years, and we haven't won elections. The Democrats don't operate that way. The Democrats smartened up after losing elections and paying a bunch of money to consultants almost 20 years ago. And they said, no, we're not going to do that anymore. The party will only do the stuff that only the party can do. And the party plays a very important role. They have certain role with respect to sharing data with state parties, with respect to fundraising, with respect to, they have certain role. But a lot of the stuff the Democrats do is outside the party. They do it in nonprofits, pseudo nonprofits, PACs and whatever. Mm-hmm. But still, the messaging is led by a party apparatus that is disciplined, focused on messaging and on their goals. They do not, have little disputes with each other in the press and members of Congress attacking each other. That just doesn't happen. They have party discipline, and they ruthlessly collect money and dump it into our races. And we sit here and say, as a Republican Party, oh, sorry, our rules say we can't do anything about that. I'm not saying that the party should be picking candidates in a primary, but what I am saying is you're foolish if you let the Democrats pick your candidates in the primary. We have no plan for that. The
Love it,
election
love it,
laws
love
were
it.
changed on a wholesale basis in 2020,
She's glitching like crazy. That is not me. That is the video. Okay, watch. I'm gonna rewind it back just to prove it.
wholesale basis in 2020, increment.
Yeah, that's definitely not me, y'all. I'm sorry, it's not me. It's the video. Okay, it's literally the video. All right, but yeah, I definitely agree with what she had to say there, though, in terms of, you know, sometimes you gotta break the rules. Just is what it is, because the other side is doing it. Just saying, you can't just sit back and no, against the rules, man, against the rules. Well, they're doing it to you, like they're intentionally trying to pick the candidates. Got to do something, man. Got to do something. Win the game, and once you win, you can make sure the game never has to be played again. Do what you got to do to win in the game once you do win. That's the way that I see it. That should be the motto of Republicans, you know, leading up to 24. Win the game, no matter what, and once we do, make sure it never has to be played again. Just saying. I'm just saying. Do y'all agree? Disagree? Let me know why not, or are you just fine with playing by the rules, so to speak, and taking L's? Let me know.
For that, our party was not raising or spending money on election litigation. We were like, oh, there's an election. Let's have some itinerant, temp lawyers put down their laptops and work like a lawyer militia and work for free to save elections for 2 weeks and then go back to their jobs. It doesn't work that way. We have jobs, we have commitments. You can't just make me work for free for 2 weeks. So we have to have been investing like the Democrats did in lawyers like Mark Elias, who is funded to the tune of whatever he wants and files frivolous lawsuits sometimes and just spams the courts with nonsense lawsuits. But they get through and they win if there's no opposition. We have not been doing that until the last 2 years. I will say the chair listened to me jumping up and down and screaming about it. We began to invest in that issue. We're still way behind. Our cost of fundraising, Dave, is out of control. It's like 40%, okay? I just came from a Turning Point USA event. Turning Point's cost of fundraising now, it's a nonprofit, 7% or so. They raise hundreds of millions of dollars over the same time period that we have. Where's that other 30% going? What's going on there? It's going into the pockets of people who are not helping us win elections. I'm very passionate about this.
Facts.
Little donors, mom and
some folks are stuffing their pockets.
Pops, people like my parents and my other relatives, they say, oh, Lindsey Graham needs money, let's give him some money. I like him. I saw him on television. And suddenly they're signed up forever to keep getting emails from every Republican in the universe, and they can't stop it.
We aren't giving Lindsey Graham a single penny. Not a single thing. Now, if if Mitch is going to throw money to make sure somebody loses, it should be Lindsey. And himself, of course. Sheesh.
The puppy will die. Your mom will be held hostage. The messages are so abusive. And then big dollar donors are really sick of giving their $5 million, $10 million, $50 million checks, and we don't win elections. I mean, that's not what they're there for. So pretty much nobody is satisfied with the status quo, except a significant percentage of the members of the Republican National Committee who have their power, their privilege, their title, their prestige, their photographs with politicians. I'm not there for that. I'm here to win elections so I can go back and enjoy my life. And so we would be making one of the things that really ratcheted up the ugliness in this race, Dave. It'll be very interesting to know that I think on day 3 of my campaign, I tweeted that I would initiate a top to bottom audit of every consulting and vendor contract at the RNC. And before that, it was a very genteel exchange of ideas. And isn't it cute that Harmeet's running? Suddenly, every political consultant in D.C. is out for my blood, placing hit pieces. But it's all going to come out. It's all going to come out what's been going on there. And then we can talk about what we do about it. Because the Democrats don't have this rotten, corrupt system like we do. And look, a lot of people in our RNC, most of them are well-meaning, but they don't control what's going on there. And so I think I've had some conversations with members who've been shocked to hear what I've said. And I think I changed their minds because, it's a very top-down organization. The RNC tells the states, if you want us to subsidize a particular walk app or method of fundraising, win red, you have to use our system. No choice. We don't give you a choice as to what works better in your state. That's not Republican. The Republican is pushing power down to the people. It's respecting the people. It's not calling them names. Some of my fellow members of the RNC have called voters low information bitchers for daring to contact them about this leadership race. I love hearing from those voters. I don't call them names like that. They're voters. They may be angry. Sometimes they are. But they're angry for a good reason because they're Republicans and we don't win elections. So, of course, they're angry. I'm angry. So I think it is with a relatively simple platform that I've been laying out as I'm talking to the 167 other voters. But I'm also sharing that with the public. And there is virtually no support for the current leadership outside the RNC and the consultant class who feed off of us. And
you got people like Mitch. Well, I don't need to rail into Mitch anymore. I've gone on that rant plenty of times. I don't need to do it again. Most of you guys agreed with me. And from what I've seen online, a lot of people agree with me there too. So yeah, I don't need to rail into him anymore. Anyway.
So that's been heartening. And so one way or the other, we're going to see change at the RNC.
Right. I mean, I agree with the premise there. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of support there, but for whatever reason, and people can call it the swamp or the deep state or whatever the hell it is, it does keep going. So the outsiders, like you, always have that uphill battle. I see sort of two parts of this. You're talking about sort of the under the hood technical stuff like that are the problems in terms of voting and what's going on with fundraising. But I think there's also the idea level that it seems like there's a real problem brewing. Just in the last couple days, I heard Mitch McConnell say that the number one issue on Republicans' minds is defending Ukraine from Russia. And I thought, man, I'm for the first time.
Anybody else just find that funny? And also frustrating as well. Did this bozo? Oh man. You know what? I'm not gonna start calling names. I almost took it there. I said one. It just slipped out. You know what I mean? Like it just leaked out. Sheesh. Oh man, this guy. I want to say I saw the clip of that too. Wow. That's coming from Republican leadership.
In my life, since I moved to Florida, I registered as a Republican, but I think the ideas I talk about resonate with a lot of people on both sides. It's like, that's not in my top 20. And the way he said it, I thought, man, I can now see why the OG Republicans have just had it with you guys. What do you do about the messaging part that seems very disconnected when he could be talking about, I don't know, the economy, the border, free speech, et cetera?
Well, I can't do anything about Mitch McConnell. If I were in the United States Senate, I'd be voting for a different leader. I can't do anything about the leadership race in the House where, because we didn't do that well, there was no red wave. You have this infighting that's just awful. Friends of mine are throwing stones at each other.
Yeah.
Unfortunate. But I can do something about the RNC, and the RNC does set the messaging. And unfortunately, we've been kind of hostage to whatever happened recently, whatever the Democrats said recently. We're always like reacting to that. We don't seem to be going back to our platform or our basic values, or frankly, even taking a poll and then talking about what Republicans actually care about. We spend millions during this chair's tenure. There have been millions of dollars spent on consultants on messaging issues, believe it or not. And what you see is the result of that.
What? Spent on consultants? Go get that money back. Let me be the consultant. I'll do it for free. You don't even have to pay me. I mean, nice a little care package would be nice. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't complain. But I'll do it for free. If that's the case, if this is the consultation that you're getting for millions of dollars, Here, let me talk to you. And I'll talk to you for free. Free 99, you know? Sheesh, this is ridiculous.
It's not very good messaging. I'm sorry to say. Sorry to offend the people
Terrible
who are probably
messaging.
going to be very angry and set out more hit pieces about me because of that, but it's true. Our base does not like or appeal. The messaging did not turn out voters. The candidates did not turn out voters. And we sat there like sitting ducks spending a bunch of money on them. And, you know, some of these, like I said, back to the issue of left define our candidates, we're letting that happen because we're not doing a good job of picking them and defining them. There's no party. Maybe there needs to be more of a like cabal situation where you get together and say, look, guys, we're not going to win in Georgia. We're not going to win in Pennsylvania. We're not going to win in this state or that state if we don't have a candidate who fits this profile. That means our data has to be good. Our messaging has to be good. We have to have enough money, and we have to be doing litigation around the clock. Election integrity is not a seasonal itinerant worker deal. I mean, you know, RNC has laid off most of its election integrity staff after the election, as if they're like, we picked the crop and now we're done. No. We need to be doing, we are so far behind the left. We need to be doing this for a decade or two until we reverse the tide. And we need to be spending 10x what we're spending on it.
If you're looking,
Yeah, I mean, top to bottom, I think there's a whole lot that is wrong in the Republican Party. You know, you could start from the top with Mitch, who just said the most ridiculous thing. I mean, my goodness, what? Then you got, you know, fundraising efforts that are horribly managed. Whoever's running this stuff is stuffing their pockets. The proof is in the eating, as Joe would say. So, like, not only are you burning and wasting money there, but then also you have somebody like Mitch who's burning money and wasting money on trying to make sure a Republican candidate isn't, like, that's what you're burning money on? When you could have spent that money on, I'm done, man. Like, share, comment, hit that subscribe button if you're new. Peace and love. I'm out. I'm just frustrated.